Hey there! Today I'm going to talk about the Kawexo Pen. Now, should you wonder what a Kawexo Pen is, it's another Frankenpen project. A while ago I made a video on the Labehab pen, in which I show you how to put a Laban nib on an Ahab pen. Well, today we're going to do something like that, and this was someone asked me, is this possible? I tried it out, and it works, and I really like this one. So what we do here is we take a Noodler's flex pen. It could also be a Noodler's. You also have these piston fillers that are not flex nibs, but I'm assuming you're most likely to have one of these flex nibs. They come in a number of colors, etc., but a flex nib with a piston filler body, and a Kaweco Sport, in this case classic nib. These nibs are 23 karat gold plated, and they happen to have roughly the same shape and size as the Noodler's flex nibs. The Kaweco nibs are just a little bit bigger, but they seem to fit fairly well. Okay, so what you do is you put them together, Kaweco nibs, flex pen, then you get a Kawexo pen. Now, just to be sure, you can try this out. I have mine already inked up here in a demonstrator. I'll show you how to do this. Just a bit of a warning, you do this at your own risk. I have done this, I have not found it to leak, but you're never really sure. So please don't send me angry messages that you try this and your pen leaks. Mine doesn't, but that's all I know. Okay, so I'll show you how to make a Kawexo pen, and that's all there is to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so here we have a number of incarnations of the Noodler's piston filler pen. My first one was this one, which has a flex nib. This is the one with the old handset feed. Then I got this one, which has one of the machine set feeds, which looks a little bit sharper. I also got at some point a regular piston filler. Now, I couldn't find these on the gouletpens.com website anymore. I'm not sure whether they are still being produced. This is not a flex nib, this is a regular fountain pen nib, but as you can see, the body of the pen is exactly the same. It's just a different, color and deco. And then you have a demonstrator, which is what I'll use today, because I can show you some things a bit better with this pen. So this has a flex nib. It is a piston filler, so here you see the piston moving up and down as I twist the blind cap. The beauty of these pens, as with all Noodler's pens, is that you can disassemble them completely for maintenance. I have some trouble getting the piston out. There we go. So you got the piston, you can clean it, you put some silicone grease on there, and then you put it back in. And then we have the nib and the feed, which you can also remove. Alright, now, imagine you say, well, I kind of like this, but now I bought an Ahab pen, or I bought a Conrad pen, and I'm not sure what to do with this pen anymore because it's another flex pen, and I like the bigger ones better. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. You can throw this away, but that would be complete and utter waste. So, what else could you do? Well, here we have a Parker Jotter. And the Jotter, at least this one, which is the version that has a sort of half demonstrator type of section, you can remove the feed and the nib. And it just happens to be the case that this nib is roughly the same shape as the Noodler's nib. It's a little bit rounder, but it will fit. So if you take the Noodler's feed and you take the Jotter nib, you can put it on there, and you can put it in the barrel, and you got yourself a slightly different pen. Is that going to make a big difference? Well, you just lose the flexing. This is still a nib that will give you a little bit of line variation, but it's clearly not a flex nib. Okay, now something else that you could do, and what I think makes a bit more sense, is get yourself a Kaweco Sport. Maybe you already have one. If you do, you could just try this out and see whether you like it. But if you don't, you can just buy a nib unit for the Kaweco Sport Classic, which looks like this. You will get this. So you will get a grip section, you'll get a feed collar, which is the black thing in there, or excuse me, a nib collar, and you'll get a feed and a nib. Now, the nib is the funny thing here, because this is a 23 karat gold-plated nib, if I understand correctly. That is what Kaweco is telling us it is. Now, in any case, whether it is actual gold-plated or not, I don't really have a reason to doubt it, although I do think the nibs are a bit cheap to be gold-plated, but in any case, this is a very, very smooth nib. No one can deny that. And the shapes of the original Noodler's nib and the Kaweco nib are fairly similar. So what you could do is you could take this nice and smooth nib, whoops, put it on the feed. This happens to be a broad nib. Put it in there. There you go. I put the piston back in. Let's see if we can ink this up. What we have created here is a Frankenpen. So this is a mixture of pen parts. So I suppose I should now actually go, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! But first we have to see whether it actually writes. So let's not be too happy about this. I take an ink bottle that I happen to have here, which is Iroshizuku Momiji. I open it up, put the pen in, see if we can draw up some ink. Sorry I'm doing this off camera, but believe me, I'm just drawing up ink. I'm not actually sucking up someone's blood or anything. There we go. Inked up pen. See, I warned you about this looking a bit like blood. Gently wipe the pen. Well, there we go. Writing. Here we have the Kawexo. It's now a Kaweco Flex pen. Kawexo. And that's the wrong cap. There's pen parts everywhere. Okay, so let's do some writing. It's alive! And as you can see, it really is alive, because it writes. You see any leaking? I don't. I do now, but that was because I was shaking it, and most pens would do this. So, still, there's no drops of ink on the feed or anything, no ink leaking. Looks good to me. So, the funny thing is that you can buy one of these flex pens for $14, and you can buy a Kaweco nib unit for $12, if you don't have a Kaweco that you can recycle. So, for $26, you can have a pen that is a piston filler, filler with an E, and that also has a 23K gold-plated nib. Now I say again, whether it's really gold-plated or not, I don't really care. All I know is that this is a very smooth nib. Lays down a very nice even patch of ink. I love the Kaweco broad. I'm still to try out the double broad, but I really like this nib. It's smooth, it's pleasant, it doesn't skip, it doesn't skid. As to flexibility, well, there's just a little bit, but of course not nearly as much as with the regular Noodler's Flex nib. So here you go, a Frankenpen, the Kawexo. I hope this was useful. Try it out, and that's all there's to it. So, I'll see you later, and bye-bye.